Hello and welcome to Criminology at Keele. This is a very brief video presentation, around about 20 minutes long, which is designed to just give you a quick introduction to Criminology at Keele. My name's Tony Kieran and I'll be taking you through this presentation. I'm one of the criminologists at Keele. I'm also the Programme Director for Criminology at Keele. Now, I'm very mindful of the fact that in this very short presentation, I will be bombarding you with lots and lots of information. Now, don't worry, there are plenty of opportunities for you to ask questions. The website, Keele website, the criminology information goes into a lot more detail about some of the issues that I'm talking about, and there is information about how to contact us if you have any further queries. It's also important to point out that you can use Unibuddy to have conversations both with criminology students but also with criminology staff. Just to give you a sense of what the programme is about. I mean, in particular, I think it's a really good idea to have some conversations with students to get a student's eye view of the experience of being a student at Keele. Okay, let's move on and let's begin by starting to think about why you might want to study criminology. Now, the first thing to talk about is, well, why criminology? And that's a pretty good question. And actually, luckily, it's a very easy question to answer. Criminology, when it's done properly, is a brilliant subject to study, and it's a brilliant thing to do. It's a brilliant thing to be a criminologist. Now, there are all sorts of reasons for that. One is that criminology takes challenging, cutting edge, theoretical approaches. We challenge and we push students, but it's not some abstract academic subject. All of that we cover, all the theories, the arguments, the ideas, there's a very strong focus on how they can make a difference in the real world, how they can be applied to the real world, how they can be used to change what's going on out there. Now, the second question is, why Keele? And again, that's a pretty simple and straightforward question to answer. There's a very, very long history of both teaching and research in criminology at Keele. In fact, just to give you a sense of that depth and that history, criminology, Keele was the first university in Britain to offer a criminology degree. We pioneered the teaching of criminology as an undergraduate degree. We've developed quite a lot of expertise, quite a lot of experience, and we've also taught a number of cohorts going all the way back to the early 1990s. There are lots and lots of Keele criminology graduates scattered across the UK and across the world in policing, criminal justice, the Home Office, local government, etc., etc. So it's something that we're good at. It's something that we're very experienced at doing. I think it's fair to say that when it comes to teaching criminology, we are a safe pair of hands. Now, in terms of what we do at Keele, we deliver criminology in 6 different contexts. One of those is the single honours criminology programme. Another single honours route in which we deliver criminology is the very popular forensic science and criminology programme, and another is the law with criminology programme. And we also deliver criminology in combination with other subjects in a combined honours programme. And we offer at the moment criminology and psychology, which is a very popular combination, which leads to a degree which is recognised by the British Psychological Society for graduate membership of the BPS. We deliver a popular degree in criminology and sociology and a degree in criminology and history. Now, the next question that you might want to ask is, what do we actually teach on the criminology programme here at Keele? So what I'm going to do over this slide and the next 2 or 3 slides is take you through an indicative structure of the criminology programme here at Keele. Now, I say the word indicative partly because what I'm going to talk you through is the criminology programme as it stands right now. in 2020-2021. So I'm going to talk you through the programme that we are currently teaching to our existing criminology students. Now, in order to make sure that our programme remains relevant and up to date and incorporates new and emerging issues in crime and criminal justice and society in general, we do, on a regular basis, review our modules, revise and update modules, and introduce new modules that reflect new issues, new challenges, new topics. So it's important to emphasise that. What I'm going to talk you through over the next few slides is a snapshot of the programme now. But it may be, for example, a student that comes to Keele in October of 2021 may find that by their second year or their third year, the list of modules available to them may be slightly different to the list that I'm going to talk you through now. This is just an indicative list. This gives us a sense of the way in which criminology is delivered at Keele. It's broken down into two sets of taught modules. Modules that we refer to as core compulsory modules and modules that we refer to as electives or optional modules. The core modules on the left hand side of the screen, they reflect the modules, or they are the modules which cover all of the competencies, skills and knowledge which the British Society of Criminology requires students must study in year one in order to satisfy the requirements of the BSc. So the combination of those core compulsory modules and any combination of the option modules on the right hand side of the screen satisfies the year one requirements for the British Society of Criminology for a named award in criminology. The first of those in semester one. This is Understanding Crime, which, as the title suggests, is a module that introduces them to crime, explanations of crime, theories, concepts. It's a module that equips students or introduces students to the theoretical toolbox for criminologists. In the second semester, students take a module, Criminal Justice Process Policy Practice, which I teach, which looks at criminal justice. It looks at the criminal justice system, it looks at criminal justice processes, criminal justice policies and criminal justice practices, as the title suggests. Well, to translate that into English, it takes a lot of the concepts and theories from semester one and Understanding Crime and it applies them to real criminal justice. And it poses questions. Why is it that theories that work on paper, when applied in practice, sometimes work differently or sometimes don't work? What happens when we translate theories and ideas about how to engage with crime into actual criminal justice policy and criminal justice process? And in turn, what happens to those policies when they're implemented by real living human beings? So it's very much about the practical application of the concepts and the theories that students are equipped with in semester one. Now, alongside those two core modules, students pick from a range of options and electives. This is the list for the current year 2020-21, just to give you an idea. So students can pick modules like Psychology and Crime, which is the module I teach, or Murder, or Social Inequalities, or a range of modules which we offer to students, which are very carefully designed and very carefully chosen to augment and complement the core competencies, the core concepts and the core ideas within the core compulsory modules. Now, that structure very much continues into the second year. So let's move over and let's have a look at the second year. Now, when we get to the second year, very similar structure, core compulsory modules on one side and then a list of options for students to choose from. In terms of the modules that all criminology students take, we offer a module called Crime and Justice in a Global Context. We think one way of working out what's going on in our society is to think about how other societies deal with similar issues around crime, victimisation and so on. We also think students need to understand some of the emerging challenges that go beyond national criminal justice systems, terrorism, cybercrime, transnational crime committed by multinational corporations and so on. And then the other thing that all of our students take in the second year is research methods in criminology. We want our students to feel confident to engage with, to go out and conduct research and to understand the research produced by others, to be comfortable working with and making sense of data. And then in addition to that, we offer a range of options for students to choose from. And this is the kind of indicative list this year that this year's second year students are taking. One of the ones worth pointing out is the module Working for Justice. One of the benefits of having large numbers of criminology graduates from Keele in senior positions in the criminal justice system is that we routinely get them back to talk to our students about the reality of doing the job, the reality of being a police officer or a prison officer or a probation worker or a judge or a barrister, etc. But more of that later. Now in year 3, things change slightly. I've already mentioned the fact that we feed in. We are, as criminologists, we're practitioner criminologists, we're research active, we're out there doing things with police forces, with criminal justice agencies, with local councils and with communities. And we feed that into our teaching. And that really does come to a head in the third year. In the third year, the focus is very much on cutting edge research inspired teaching. Now, what does that mean in English? The first thing you'll notice about the structure of the third year of the criminology degree at Keele is that it looks quite different to the first year and the second year structure. We don't see the list of core compulsory modules down one side of the screen and the options and electives down the other side of the screen. Now, there is a reason for that. I've already talked about the fact that at Keele we pride ourselves on the fact that we deliver research-informed teaching. We go out and do research and we feed that into our teaching. We do that in the first year, we do that in the second year, but it really does come to a head in the third year. And that has an impact on the nature and the structure of the third year. Essentially, there is only one compulsory component, and that is the dissertation if you're a single honours criminology student. We think that single honours criminology students should be able to demonstrate the ability to design and carry out an individual piece of research. So that's what they do as part of the third year of the single honours criminology programme. In collaboration with an individual member of staff, every student is allocated a member of staff to help and guide and advise and supervise their dissertation. The dissertation is also available as an option to all other students, the combined honours students and the students studying criminology with, for example, forensic science or with law. Beyond that, the third year is made up entirely of options. And those options, again, that list, this is this year's list, but the list does change from year to year. So for example, next year we'll be offering students a module on youth crime and youth justice. So this is an indicative list. This is the stuff that third year students took this year. And we want this list to reflect the realities, the challenges of what's going on in the world out there. So we give students an opportunity to study things like prisons and imprisonment. We offer students a chance to study things like state crimes and transnational crimes, genocide. We offer students an opportunity to study in much more detail the impacts that drugs have on our society and the role of drugs, drug trafficking, etc. in crime in societies like ours. We offer a module on the impact of migration and the impact on societies of an influx of people from other parts of the world and how that may result in conflict, how it may result in crime, and perhaps most importantly, what do we do about it to minimise those conflicts, to minimise those problems. We also offer students the chance to study terrorism, the policing of international order, a range of different opportunities to have a look at and think about the kind of research that we're doing here and now. The focus in the third year is very much on students having an opportunity to think about what kind of criminologist they want to be, what kind of career paths they want to pursue, less than a year after the start of the third year of the degree. So this is a list that does change from year to year, because this is really where the issue of cutting edge research informed teaching really does come to a head. When you come to Keele in October 2021, the third year of the degree will actually be a number of years away. And I'm sure by the end of that process, our year 3, in terms of the list of modules that we offer, will look quite different to this. But this just does give you a sense of what we think of as the issues that we want to introduce our students to and get our students thinking about here and now. The big challenges out there in the world that our students themselves will be engaging with, dealing with and grappling with in the not too distant future. Now, that's what we teach. It's probably a good idea now to talk a little bit about how we teach it. And again, this is an approach to teaching which we've developed over the years and years of experience of delivering a criminology program. Essentially, all of the modules, all of the options that we've talked about already are delivered by a mixture of the things on the screen. One of the key modes of delivery is the lecture. So all of the students taking that module in the same room on a weekly basis with someone like me stood at the front, waving my arms around and pointing at a PowerPoint presentation. There's readings associated with that. We ask students to read in advance of the lectures. We ask students to do some reading after the lectures before they go on to the next stage of the process. The lectures work in parallel with seminars, where students are broken up into much smaller groups with a member of staff, where they go through a series of activities. Those activities might relate to the readings for the lectures themselves, and specific readings that students are asked to do for the seminars. A lot of what we do is essentially activity based. So for example, in my first year module, one of the seminars involves students thinking about being researchers working for the prison service, and they're asked to design a prison system which reduces things like suicide and self-harm in prisons. So again, the emphasis on the application of knowledge to real-world challenges. Now, all of that is backed up with the Keele learning environment, our virtual learning platform. All PowerPoints are made available in advance of lectures. Key readings are made available electronically. There are group functions, online resources, lots and lots of stuff that students can make use of. And that's backed up with one-to-one support from staff. All staff are available to speak to students, to meet with students on a one-to-one basis, on a weekly basis. But linked to that, there's also a focus on the notion of independent study. We want our students to be strong, independent learners by the end of the 3 years. We want them to be able to go out and solve problems, come up with their own ideas, rather than simply parroting other people's ideas. Those are the things that get people the good graduate jobs at the end of the process. Now, one of the ways that we support our students, there are lots of ways we support our students. We support them through a personal tutor system. Every student gets an individual member of staff as their personal tutor. But we also support through constructive feedback and support for assessments. So we provide students with advice and guidance in advance of assessment, and we provide students with advice and guidance, quite detailed advice and guidance, as feedback after their assessments have been completed. And that's all wrapped up in quite a strong network of advice and support at the subject level and at the university level. Now, the thing about students as strong, independent learners, I mean, we do take that seriously. And one of the things we try and do is encourage students to think about independent activities. So we offer lots of opportunities for our students to go out and do interesting things. So for example, we usually, this year because of COVID-19, things have been slightly difficult, but we usually have an exchange scheme with partner institutions in North America, and our first year students get a chance to go and spend a week. This year students were supposed to be going to Indiana, to Ball State University. So you can spend a week abroad, or you can spend a semester abroad in the second year, or if you really want to push the boat out, you can do the criminology degree with an international year, which is a 4-year degree. And between the second and the third year of your degree at Keele, you spend a year in one of our partner institutions that teaches in English. So lots of opportunities. Now, occasionally, and if this was a face-to-face traditional open day, I'd probably spend a lot of time answering questions from people slightly concerned about their predicted grades, or the fact that they've been out of education for a while and they're not quite sure if they will cope with the criminology degree. Now, one of the things I'd really strongly suggest you do if you're in that situation is A, have a conversation with us here at Keele, and B, have a think about the foundation year. There's information on the Keele website about the foundation year, which is an additional, it's a pre-degree year. And when you pass the foundation year, you're guaranteed a place on the degree. Now that's very popular with mature students, people who've been out of education for a number of years, people who don't really have the required qualifications, or they have qualifications but they're quite old, or they're kind of non-traditional. So it's something to think about, and it's something to have a conversation with us here at Keele if you're interested. Okay, we've gone through the criminology programme at a fairly breakneck speed. I think it's fair to say it would be understandable if you have further questions or there are things that you're not too sure about. Please remember, as I said at the start of the presentation, there are plenty of opportunities for you to engage with us. Contact information on the website. Please make use of Unibuddy, which gives you an opportunity to have conversations with staff and with students on the programme. It's also probably worthwhile just keeping up to date with criminology at Keele and just checking us out. We have a Facebook page, Criminology at Keele, and we have a Twitter account, Keele Crim. Why not follow one or both of those accounts and just see what we're up to. We use those accounts just to share information with our students in the wider world about the things that criminologists are doing that may be of interest or relevance. Why not check them out? And if you do have some questions about the criminology programme and you're really not too sure who else to speak to, please do feel free to contact me, Tony Kieran. That's me there at the bottom of the screen again. That's a slightly older photograph than the video you've had the pleasure of watching previously. And there's my email address, a.t.kieran@keele.ac.uk. Please do feel free to get in touch if you have any questions. Thank you.